Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the episode of this Amazing Seller podcast. This is episode number 733 and session number 230 of Ask Scott. This is where I answer your questions here on the podcast, and I'm going to do it again here today, and I'm going to do it with a live audience today. We're here at Brand Accelerator Live 2019, and I'm standing here with some of my good friends now. We've just met in person. We're at the VIP morning session recording this. So what I decided to do is do a live session. So is there anyone really in this room? Because people can't see this. Is there anybody here? Yeah. So you guys have all probably heard me, you guys that are here and also people that are listening, that I always say, I just want to feel like we're like together, having a cup of coffee and just chilling, right? And having these conversations. That's what we're doing today. So this is like amazing. Like here it is. Like this is live. This is what I envision when I'm doing these recordings. So we're going to open it up with Todd. Todd, what's your question?
Yeah, hi, Todd Welch from Vineyard, Utah. And my question is, so I have a brand. I have external websites, niche websites, and the product's on Amazon, of course, which right now I'm driving all that external traffic to Amazon to try to boost rankings and things like that. At what point would you recommend not sending that external traffic to Amazon and instead sending it to my own shopping cart?
It's a great question. And here's the thing, so a lot of people think that I'm against like sending your traffic to Amazon, which I'm not. Alex, for example, that shared hers, she sends all of her traffic to Amazon. She doesn't sell on her own Shopify store. At least right now, I don't think she does. And so what she's doing is she's just leveraging that traffic to give her that extra ranking power, right? The extra juice. So some people will say, but yeah, I can make more money if I sent it through my own Shopify. And that's true, but you also lose the benefits of being able to rank. So because of that, I lean always towards send it to them, pay them if it's going to allow you to get more sales, right? But the default on that always is if Amazon decides to get a little cranky, I can always just point it, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you might say, oh, all right, I want to take those products because you guys know I talk about getting 3 to 5 products. Generally, that's a good number because I can take someone from one sale and move them to second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, whatever, right? Keep on going or bundle something. So that would be where I would create a funnel outside of Amazon. And then I might take that and then drive traffic to that, right? But it's for that purpose. So I would say if your goal is to be able to get external traffic to me is just the power of being able to do a whole bunch of cool things on your website. You can run a flash sale on your website with a header banner. If you use, what are we using again? Oh, Hello Bar. Hello Bar is a great tool. You can plug in something real quick and boom, it populates right on top. It does a slider, does a maybe do an exit pop, whatever. And so that way there, if you have traffic coming in, we can do a whole bunch of cool things with that. So it's always about getting the traffic, and then we can decide what to do with it after the fact. So I would say focus on the traffic aspect, not so much how can I direct that to my own Shopify store. That's my personal take. There's other people that would disagree with that. So my thing is always traffic, and then from there, where do I point it? If I point it to Amazon, it's going to give me the most bang for my buck, right? So I'm going to be able to get more traffic on Amazon, and they're going to send me more love. So I would say just always focus on the traffic side, because then you can monetize the traffic, and you can also maybe do a flash sale and then boost your rank and all of that fun stuff. So that would be my advice on that piece. Okay. Does that help?
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Okay, cool. Do we have another question? We do.
Hi, Scott.
Dave, what's up, man?
This is Dave from Missouri, and I need to take the leap from being a one-man show to developing a team of people to help me with the business. What's your best advice for somebody like me?
Well, I'd say, like, what is the one thing that you know that you probably should outsource, like, right now?
Customer service, advertising, pay-per-click
now,
stuff.
Okay, is that more on just the Amazon side?
I need to get more into Google. I need to get into Facebook ads, everything I haven't really had time for.
Okay, but is there something right now that you're doing that you're like, I shouldn't be doing this right now?
I go in to try to do bigger things to grow the business, but I just get stuck in my email and 3 hours go by.
Okay, so the email is to support emails?
Mostly.
So you need to hire someone to take that off the plate. So that's an easy fix right there, because that's like your first. So I always look at it like, what are all the things? And one thing that you should probably be doing is writing every single thing that you do all day long for like the next week. And you're going to be amazed. You're gonna be like, holy crap, I do that a lot. And that there, I could have someone do that. I could hire someone to do that, or I could, pay my neighbor to do that, like whatever, right? Like there's stuff that that you're doing just to go through the motions because you know how to do it, and it would take work to maybe get that person up to speed. That Zon Support is here, and they actually offer a service to basically offload customer service for your Amazon side of things. So that's an easy fix. They already have that part dialed in, rather than you going out, and you still can do this. Find someone that you could train, or you go and you find someone that already knows the Amazon side, and then they would just answer those customer service things. You just need to give them like the FAQs and all of that stuff. But I always say, look at what you're doing right now that you're like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like me, right? Like I know Photoshop. I can create graphics. Sometimes I'll find myself, I'll just do it. It'll be quicker if I do it. Scott, don't do it, right? Because we're always thinking like, I just want to do it because I can get done quicker. I can do it better. The other thing is always like, oh, I can do it better, so I should just do it myself. That's something I always used to say. My father has always said that, and it's like, it's something that we have to get past, because in order for the business to grow, you have to let go of that. You have to let go of that. And it's hard sometimes, but so I would just look at what is the thing right now that is you're doing over and over and over again that is just mundane, and you're just like, I shouldn't be doing this. And it sounds like it's customer service. And customer service, if you only want, like anything that's like the stuff that is like every day you're answering similar questions, or maybe it's even a refund request, look, whatever, basically, if there's something that you have to, then that gets tossed off to you. So instead of you answering 50, it might only be 2. So that would be the first thing. And then after that, I'd start looking at other things like you said, pay-per-click. That's another one. I don't think that you can master everything in your business. So the first thing that I would look at is pay-per-click for Amazon. There's experts that can just do that for you. There's agencies that can do that for you. If you have a business that's at that level that you're willing to spend the money to grow the business, I'd hand it off. I'd hand it off and say, you know what, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. But then people are like, yeah, but I'm spending $500 or $1,000 for someone to run my pay-per-click. How many more sales is that bringing you, right? So those are some things that I think we kind of think that we have to master. You don't. Maybe learn them, right? Learn the basics, but then let someone else have to deal, because they're gonna wake up and go and log in. They're gonna go, okay, I got to trim this, I got to do this, I got to do that. Versus you being like, I got to do that, then I got to answer emails, then I got to do this, then I got to do that, right? Do what you are good at, or what you have to do. Maybe it's product creation. Maybe it's discovering new products, right? Maybe it's new marketing channels that you want to just explore. So things like that. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome, man. Thanks for being here too, Dave. Appreciate you. What is going on? Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Iva from Boston. So my question is kind of a little bit off of his. So I'm starting brand new. I just launched my first product in August. Thank you. So what I'm dealing with now, and I would love to know how you would deal with this, is kind of like the overwhelmingness of I have to do everything, and I'm not at the point where I can hire people or source it out.
Yeah.
So kind of like, what would be your focus on prioritizing, like kind of like that overwhelmness of all the different things that you have to do?
Well, let me just tell you this. Overwhelm is never going to go away.
Right.
As you grow, it continues. Opportunities become I get opportunities thrown at me every single day.
Yeah.
And it can be tempting. But in the beginning, you're scrappy, right? You have to do things that, like I was saying, like I built my house, right? Way back when. I could have hired someone. I didn't really have the money.
Yeah.
And I saved a lot of money by building it myself, but I put a lot of time and sweat and tears into that. So I would say in the beginning, you do have to do a lot of it yourself. But there are things that you have to, if you're starting a business, there's small things that you could probably hire out. Like, for example, photos, right? If you're launching a product, you have to build that into a product that you're launching, right? You got to have a little bit of a marketing budget for that. You need to have some great pictures, because the pictures are going to help sell the product, right? So those are things that if you're thinking, well, I'll just take it with my iPhone and stuff, like it's fine, but that's something that you probably should outsource. So there's things like that are on the surface that are one-off things, but on the day-to-day stuff, I think it's also staying focused.
Okay.
Creating that roadmap that you're going to follow, and give yourself like a 90-day sprint.
Okay.
Like 90-day sprint. Like do a year, work backwards, 90 days. After the 90 days, guess what? You look and see where you're at, and you go, oh, the next 90 days is going to look like this, even though you might have planned it out for 12 months, because things are going to change, right? But overwhelm is huge as far as any entrepreneur. Like overwhelm, but it's then, again, I think it's sitting down, knowing exactly what you're going to work on because you have the plan, and then don't get distracted. Like the blinders on, target, and then just go for it, right? And then that way, all your focused time is really being used well. Does it make sense?
Yes.
But
absolutely.
don't be afraid to, and I know it's like investing a little bit into someone, even like starting small, like things that you know that you're not good at.
Right.
It's okay. I'm not good at everything either.
Yeah.
Right? That's why I have great people around me. But in the beginning, I had to kind of do the best I could. Until I was able to figure it out.
Okay, great.
Sound
Thank
good?
you.
Stay focused, though. That's the biggest thing. Overwhelm has a lot to do with focus as well.
All right.
You might be overwhelmed for the wrong reasons. Right?
Me too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks for being here, too.
Hey, Scott. Thank you for this amazing event.
What's up, man?
My name is Rowan from Brampton, Ontario. I started my business about 2-3 years ago, and when I started, there were no Chinese tariffs, so I didn't take that into consideration into my budget and all the spending and expenses that I had. So how can someone get around this new Chinese tariff that was just introduced, or not get around? Any tips for easing the burden, or any tips that you would say to grow your business in the future to not have this impact to your business as much?
It's a great question, and I have a good answer. Okay, so you're talking like 25%, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, like the world's ending. We got this big tariff now. Our business is done. If your margins were that thin to begin with, there's a problem when you started. That's number one. Number two, it's more, see, to me, building a brand and a business isn't just about that one thing, right? So if you're starting with product or 3 products, the business has to be built around other things, right? So the way that I like to look at it now is you're building your home base, your traffic. You hear me talking about traffic. I'm telling you what, if you want to master something, it's traffic. And it doesn't matter what channel you're on, but if you can get your own organic traffic or learn paid traffic, right, that is an answer to a lot of the problems, right? So to me, if I have the traffic coming in, the product side of things is almost secondary, even though I know that's where the money's coming from. You see what I'm saying? So because so many people are they're so focused on product, when that tariff comes into play, everybody's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I was selling it for $20 and now I'm gonna lose a whole bunch of margins. Well, number one, you didn't do the right planning in the beginning. You should have more margins built in. Number two, yes, maybe start looking for something maybe in another country, or maybe look in the US, or work with your supplier, but talk to them. But again, if you've already built the margins in so like light where you don't have a lot of cushion, you might have to restructure, you might have to rethink things. But going forward, you know that now. Right? But everyone's being affected by that. It's not just you. I mean, even in our Walmarts and our Targets, the prices are going to get raised. They're getting hit too, right? So it's not just us. But the big thing is don't just focus your business around the product or the products. It's more than that. If you get traffic right now, we can diversify that in multiple ways without you even having to launch another product. It could be just on the traffic side with ads running on your site. It could be maybe affiliate offers. Like, you guys don't realize if you get traffic to your site, you can throw up affiliate offers that you might not ever sell that kayak, but you sell kayak parts, right? The kayak, maybe it sells for $300. You can get commission on that if you just refer it because you have content that's built around that market, right? So that's how I'm thinking. I'm not thinking like, oh, my whole business is like when we heard about that. I'm partnered in a brand, and my partner was like, oh my gosh, like what are we gonna do? I'm like, don't, just chill. It's okay. Look at all the other things we got going on. We're still bringing in a lot of money from other sources, and now we just have to adjust. So it's not that big of a deal. And when you really look at it, you're talking like, yes, it's 25 cents on the dollar, basically, right? So you just got to look at that. Your margins are a big thing, though. You guys should always be starting with higher margins. You shouldn't be so thin. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Any more questions for the Ask Scott session? We got another one.
Hey, Scott.
What's up, man?
Dan Robertson from Connecticut. One of my biggest issues was that I had product at Amazon that was doing well for 3 years, and then they actually started damaging the product in the warehouse. So I pulled all the inventory, redid the box, and sent it back in, but I'm still building back up from the negative reviews from the damage that Amazon did. So I was just looking for maybe some advice.
How many reviews are on that product right now?
About 450.
Oof, okay. Yeah, that's tough. Because at first I was going to say if you got like 100 or something, I'd just say just kill it and start another listing and start over again.
Right.
But because of that, it's kind of tough because you do have some. There's someone I know right now that has had a product that did very well, 7 figures. He's running that thing for 3 years, and then hijackers, and then they came on, and then they were selling a bad product, and then the reviews were terrible, and it killed it. So that is a big problem. So my biggest thing here is so you have new inventory with a fixed product.
Correct.
Okay, so probably on something like that, there's a couple different things you could do. Number one is do you have an email list of anything that you could? Nothing.
No.
Okay. See, now this is again the leverage of an email list. If you have an email list, you send it out, go, guys, we got updated product. I'd really love it if you guys would go and grab it. Here's a special discount, and I'd love for an honest review. Like, that's it. Like, you're not doing anything black hat. You're saying, like, we got a new product. I'd love you to have it at a discount. And then you're going to start to get some of those positive ones that are going to outweigh the negative ones. Is hijackers or anything on the listing?
No.
No, good. Okay. So I would work on probably just reversing that by trying to get more positive reviews that are going to outweigh the other ones. You could probably let the one that was bad, right, and let that just run out of inventory, or just pull it all together and just create a new variation underneath that.
Okay.
And start clean. But that's probably like, I'd focus on that. But the other thing is, again, we're talking about one product.
Well, I did start a new variation, so that was almost like part 2 of this is, do I keep the variation that I have, or do I split the variation off to a separate listing?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a tough answer, because I think the best solution would be that, but it's also like you're starting from scratch.
Right.
So I think adding that other variation would give you a cleaner start, but it's going to take work to get back there. If you don't have the external, if you had an email list, or if you had some type of traffic, if you had the blog traffic, whatever, you could immediately do a flash sale. You can immediately get attention, and then boom, all of a sudden we're going to fill that thing right up. So it's a tough, I don't know the answer 100%. I think you might know the answer more than I would, as far as like what the reviews look like, how many are really, really bad. Have you reached out to the ones that gave you bad reviews?
I have responded to the negative
Did
reviews.
anybody respond back?
I have not gotten a
Nothing,
response.
huh? Did you email them, or just on the live reviews?
I wasn't able to find a way to actually email them. They only
Okay.
show like that username or just their first name or something.
There are ways that you can find that. Actually, there was other ways that you could do it, but there's, I forget the new way. I'm sure someone here, if you ask about that, would be able to tell you, but it has become a little bit harder. But just reaching out to someone and just saying like, hey, I realized you had an issue. I'd love to send you a new unit. We have an updated version, whatever. And that does work. But it takes work to do that, because then you got to do a lot of reaching and doing that. So, but my one thing I would say is, your business sounds like it's built on a couple of products.
Right.
We got to fix that. Right? Because now look, you're in this turmoil. You're like, oh my gosh, like what am I going to do? This is why I stress that we got to build out the brand. Right? We got to build out with new products, other products. We got to build it out with traffic. We got to build it out with other ways that we can monetize. Right? Hopefully that helped you a little bit.
Awesome.
I don't know that there's an exact answer. I think you would know better than I would, as far as I'd have to look through all the reviews and see how many, like what's the percentage, and then we can figure it out from there. But it seems like a lot of time and energy is going into that, and I don't want all the energy going that, but I know that that's kind of like bringing in cash too. So
Right.
it's a hard balance.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank
man.
you so much.
Thank you. Good luck on that.
Appreciate it.
Are we out of time? We got 5 minutes? We got 5 minutes.
Great, thank you.
What's up?
I'm running into a problem with scaling, and I'm wondering how you might handle that. So, been selling for a few years, started with Amazon, and then year after year, it's been better than the year before. So it is growing slowly.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find myself, instead of doing the marketing, my time gets full of just handling the inventory fulfillment. And I think the problem is that I have products that are very hands-on. They're handmade,
Okay.
and then I have to QC them and whatnot. So,
You have to.
Yes.
There's
so
one
they
piece.
they do not go straight from China to Amazon.
Okay.
So they come to me physically, And then I have a couple people that we, QC every single item. But the sales have been going up.
That's good.
And so it's getting exhausting. Or else I hire more people. Or I just go until I can't do it anymore and I sell it or whatever. And there's
Sell the
different-
business?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
There's different options, right?
Right.
So, but while it's growing, it's very good, income. And the brand is becoming more like bigger.
Okay.
So, in fact, to the point where even though I was only selling on Amazon, I've gotten a couple retail accounts.
Great.
Actually, a lot of them. And one big box store had 27 locations, so now they're selling it.
Okay.
And since that happened in February, the Amazon sales have been jumping up way over last year at this
Terrible problem you're having.
Right. So how do I solve it is my question.
I'm going to tell you. Okay, let me ask you one important question. How important is this brand to you personally? Like, is it a passion of yours? Like, I don't want to let it go. It's my baby. Like, is it that, or is it you're building it to make money?
If someone came and offered me, I would let it go in an instant.
Okay. Well, there's your answer. I think Joe Valley, are you back there? I think Joe is. Okay. Talk to Joe later. Seriously, you probably have a great business that's set up for a sale. And, what I've learned from talking to Joe and the guys at Quiet Light is the money is really made in your brand when you sell it. Because
Right.
your money a lot of times is tied up in inventory. Mike and Joe are going to be talking today about how Joe helped Mike sell the brand for 7 figures, but he had $1 million almost in inventory. But he got paid for all that inventory when he sold.
Right.
So when you sell, that's when you really pull it all back in. And there was another guy that Joe was telling me about that was his goal. He didn't pull a dime out for 2 years. They ended up selling the business and they cashed out. So if you have it set up properly and you're on a steady growth, you have retail, so you got external, you got like all of these other ways, and everything is kind of growing. How do we add more gas to that? How do we fire that up even more? But the thing is, a lot of times that's growing, but maybe some of the internal stuff isn't set up properly, so it's going to be
Right.
hard when you sell. Right now is the time that you want to talk to someone like Joe and their team, because they'll do it for free. So basically, you just go and you talk to them and then get an idea. Because that's been a little bit of an eye-opening thing for me, is to see like, holy crap, like it's really just setting things up properly and then getting this thing to grow for a couple of years, and then from there you cash out. So it's like you can just keep repeating that if you want to, but you need to know the skill set. It sounds like you already have the skill set to build a business, right? I talked about that yesterday. Building up a skill set, you have that, right? So I would just figure out a way, how can you grow this without you pulling your hair out? So this way here, it sounds like you got to get more people to help you to basically do the QCing and stuff, so you're not doing it, and that's fine. And then once you build that up, then we can go ahead and possibly sell it, and then you can pull the money, and then you can say, what do I want to do next? Start another brand? Yeah,
Right.
maybe, right? So that's what I would advise. But
Okay.
it sounds like you're sitting on a really solid business that's growing, that could be really, really great for you to sell, whether it's in 12 months, 2 years, whatever, but you'll at least know what it looks like. So right now is a perfect time for you to see what that looks like.
Okay, I'll make sure to see Joe Valley.
Yes, definitely do that. Definitely do that. Are we out of time? Yeah, we're out of time. Guys, thank you so much. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to close out the show. Episode 733. And we're doing it live. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up this episode of The Amazing Seller and Ask Scott here with this live audience. If you want to go grab the show notes, head on over to theamazingseller.com/733. And guys, as always, remember, I'm here for you, I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. But you have to, come on, say it with me, say it loud, say it proud. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, take action. All right, that's a wrap. That was friggin' awesome. I like that. We got to do that more often.